I was graped 20 years ago, but the charges were dropped. Now my grapist just sent a graphic confession video to everyone that didn't believe me. My life changed forever in 2003 when I was attacked. My boyfriend at the time asked me to come over one night to hang out, but he wasn't alone and was with his best friend this time. I remember at one point while I was over there, my boyfriend told me that his best friend still had his V card and how unfair it was that girls rejected him all the time. I'll spare you from the details, but later that night I was violated by my then boyfriend and his best friend. These two were a part of a big friend group that my sister and I were a part of as well. I reported what happened to the police and it became a big divider in the group, until a friend of the best friend provided an alibi for him from her birthday party that happened that same night. It was good enough for everyone, so I was turned against by everyone and I was constantly being told to drop the charges, even from my own sister. 6 months later the best friend passed away from an excessive substance intake and I was blamed for what happened to him. I was ostracized by everyone including my own family. I moved away after the case was dropped shortly after his passing. Now after 20 years, I woke up about 3 weeks ago to lots of texts and missed calls from unsaved numbers. I found out later that it was my mom and sister, and after all this time now they believe me because my past boyfriend confessed to everything in detail and called what he did a curse that haunted him his entire life. All of what he said was written in a letter and on a video he recorded. The video wasn't just him having a come to Jesus moment, it was an actual unaliving video capturing his final moments. He wanted me to know that God was on my side and punished him on every single path he took, starting with the passing of his best friend, and that he was tired now and couldn't take it anymore. He asked for forgiveness and for me to visit his grave so at least his soul didn't continue to be haunted, and along with that left me a hefty amount of money he saved. I got copies of his letter and disturbing videos sent to me even by strangers. Not only to me but to my husband and children, none of which knew my past. I don't know what to do now. My husband and children are traumatized and my family is bombarding me to forgive them. They want to meet my children and be a part of their lives now after all of this time. I don't even know if there's anything to forgive. I just want things to get back to normal like it was before all of this came out. Would I be a bad person if I told everyone I don't want anything to do with them? My mom is apparently sick and is scared she wouldn't have the chance to see me before something happened. Update. I decided that I didn't want to meet my mom, even though she's sick, or any of my family. Yet one Sunday morning, they were at my door insisting to go inside. Insisting to see me before my mom left this world. Against my better judgment I let them in. My mom cried because I looked old and not like her beautiful girl anymore. Did she expect to meet a 20-year-old me? I didn't utter a word and I pushed my sister away when she cried and tried to hug me. They wanted to see my children but I refused. My children were terrified. Now they have been trying everything to make me talk to them. I have tried to report them to the police but they yet again proved themselves to be useless. My children aren't feeling well. We are in therapy, especially my son who doesn't even want to look at me, even now. My daughter is very compassionate but I know that she is confused and broken, but she has always been the kind that tried to make others feel better. My husband and I are separated as we started having issues with all of this. He was angry all the time. He couldn't look at me. He thought that I should have told him when we met but I didn't, and now he felt helpless. He couldn't even touch me anymore. He'd say things like, "Do you feel repulsed by me? Do I remind you of what happened every time I have touched you?" He was going mad so he said that he didn't want to be with me anymore. I begged him to stay not only because I love him but because our children, especially our son, are hurting and we need to help them, but he said that separation is better so our son can get time off from being with me and living with him instead. My grapist's wife is suing me for the damage that her husband left me. They have 4 children who are all traumatized by what happened. They still live in my hometown and everyone knows them. Seeing what happened to my children, I feel nothing but sorrow for his children too. None of them asked to be born. The woman who provided the alibi was outed. I heard that she's lost her job and people are harassing her. Even with my past, these past months have been the hardest on me. I cry myself to sleep every night. I have lost everything I care about. I wish he never admitted to anything and just let the past be.